Pile one, what positive trait is hiding in your shadow side? For you, your trait is the ability to understand people's intentions. This means that you can really suss out a liar, to know who's telling the truth and who's not. You know who to trust, and you know when someone is being shady or manipulative or lying to you. You have a very strong intuition, but I feel like the reason that you're sort of suppressing this part of yourself is that you see yourself as very logical and analytical. And I keep seeing someone being almost very business-like someone who works in the corporate world or a business or something serious, something where spirituality or intuition or deeper gut feelings isn't respected or spoken about. But I'm really getting that if you tune into this ability, and I feel like you have it, but you're not really doing very much about it, and you don't know the full extent of how powerful you are at this. But you can really see behind the veil, and you really know who people are, and very quickly you know sort of what they're going to do and their intentions, even if they're lying straight to your face. So I pulled cards on just more about this ability, and I got the Ring and the Storm. And this is so perfect because the Ring is about completeness and wholeness, and the Storm is about chaos. You really do have this big, broad mind that can see all the layers of what is going on around you. You can see through the chaos, you can see through the deception, and you can take in the entirety of a situation, of a person, of a company, of anything really. I just see you, if you're working in this is just an example, but if you're in some huge corporate building where there's 500 people working, you can feel into who isn't good, who doesn't mean the best for the company, who's lying to you, who is really genuinely decent and you can trust, and you guys can help each other get ahead. You could see through all of the factors and see how they contribute to the whole. So in big companies, they have different sections, or I'm not a business person, but they have different areas, and maybe one area of the company doesn't work as hard as the next one. You could see how it all plays in together. This is very similar to the reading I did, The Power You Don't Know You Have, and I believe that was also pile one. That was talking about just the ability to see the big picture. And that's really what this is saying. The next cards are still talking about what your ability and your positive attribute is. And the Riddle and the Venom. And this is very similar to what we just drew. The Riddle is you figuring out things that other people cannot figure out. And the Venom means that you see areas that are bad. You see when people mean harm, and you can't be tricked or deceived. You can see right through people's words. You can see through their intentions. And with the Riddle, other people don't have this skill. I think maybe you're not realizing just how powerful and unique this skill is. And make sure, it's been sliding. I'm sorry about that. There we go. I don't think you're realizing how unique and powerful this is, and how much of a difference this can make to your life and the lives of the people around you. Next, I pulled advice on how to tune in or tap into this, and I got Thanatos. This is the death card, and you see on this card, it is depicted as a web, and that is so perfect because the positive thing that you're suppressing is this ability to see the entire web and all of the layers and strands. But you've pulled the death card. This is a very powerful and intense, very like Scorpio, Pluto type card. And the advice that it has for you is for you to act on your instincts. So it's saying, I'm really seeing someone like sit down at their desk and call someone like into their office and say, I know you're lying to me about this. I know you didn't do it. And it's saying that you don't need to sort of calculate and get all this proof and hesitate and ignore your instincts until you can really sort of prove something. It's saying you knowing is enough, and you can take action on that knowing to stop the bad things in their tracks. This is saying you can have a very intense and powerful reputation for someone who can't be fooled, someone you can't get something over on. I'm sorry, pile one, for all of the camera craziness, and my whole setup just fell down, so I've just put it back up. But this card is talking about you can act on your instincts, you can call people out, you don't have to wait. You knowing is enough proof, because it's saying you can trust them, they are right, and you don't need to just ignore what you know to be true in favor of just being logical. They're saying your instincts and your intuition can make you a powerful force in an area where those things are not typically used. That it will give you an advantage, and it will make you someone who has a reputation for being incredibly powerful and someone who can't be tricked or fooled. The next cards that came up are very interesting because I kept getting this theme of like a powerful sort of business person, and then we pull Eros and the womb. And this is a different message. Eros is eroticism, sexuality, sensuality, and physicality. And then the womb is just like a very deep, intimate part. So I was getting this whole business theme, and then these cards come out to say you also need to use this in other areas of your life, particularly relationships, particularly people coming close. And I'm getting, this is really about you having a very deep inner circle. With the womb, I'm getting that maybe you could be friends with a lot of people, but you should really cultivate a very close, deep, intimate circle of people that you trust. And this should be like, I'm not getting that this is particularly business, but maybe you have a couple people that you trust in your career life, and then a couple people you trust in your like home life. But it's saying you have this ability, and it applies across the board. So you don't just have to use this to get ahead. You can use this to really not entertain people who are not worth your time, and to not allow negative people or toxic people into your, like, quote, sacred space. So into your time, into your energy, like into your home and life. It's saying use this power that you have and really not only keep the bad out, but draw the good closer. With the womb card, it's really encouraging you to sort of have a tribe and have people that you very deeply trust and are very, I'm going to say intimate, but I don't mean like physically, just very deep emotionally attached to people that can really benefit your life, and who you are really going to know and they are really going to know, and you can all lean on and have each other. The last cards that I pulled are the sort of final result, what could result from you really using this power. And I got the Threshold, the Siren, and the Box. With the Threshold, if you tune in and tap into this power, and like the Thanatos card said, if you act on your instincts instead of just sitting and waiting for there to be proof, then, and it's sort of an example of someone who knows someone is lying to them and who is like cheating them, but does nothing about it, and then it's found out that they were lying and cheating and like stole money or something, and by then it's too late. And it's that Thanatos card is really like, call them out when you feel it. And if you tap into this power, the Threshold is you going from one area of life into an area of life that like you can't even imagine. It is a huge entire life change with the Threshold. I think you tuning into this power will make you such a powerful being that life around you has no choice but to like accommodate for the power that you'll have. And you'll just be elevated so much. The Siren is like the allure of the physical and enjoyment of the physical. And there is this deep red jewel in this card, which is very like root chakra energy. So this is very stability, family. Once again, it talks about like that safety net and very close connections with other people, and money, abundance, security. These cards are saying that if you tap into this power, life around you will mirror that power, and you will have enjoyment in your close connections and enjoyment in sort of career fulfillment. And with the Box, it's saying that you will really get to live in a way that you haven't thought of before. It's break out of the box. If you embrace this unique quality you have, particularly in the world that you want to use it in, you will be the out of the box person, and you will be able to accomplish things that other people can't. And I really feel like you will tune into a power that can transform your life in incredibly positive ways. And this will lead to a deep sense of complete fulfillment and enjoyment of your everyday life and the environment and the people around you. So that's what I have for you. If you enjoyed it, please like, subscribe, and leave a comment. Let me know how I did, and I would appreciate that so much. Thank you. Okay, pile 2. What positive trait or attribute is hiding in your shadows? So sort of what are you repressing that is actually good? What I have for you, what I've written down, is that you know who you are and what you want. That is what you're suppressing. A sense of certainty. You know exactly who you are. You know exactly the life that you want to live. But I also pulled through that you are sort of lost in emotions and lost in this like muck of other people and from your situation. And that you're probably really far away from your ideal life, that maybe you think you can't reach it at all. And the message that came through when I first started feeling into this pile before I pulled cards was, yes, you could be very far, but you have such a certainty that you can follow straight into your ideal life. Like, you don't understand how powerful that is. I feel like I think you're sympathetic and you're quite empathetic, and you're getting all of this like emotion from your environment and from the people around you, and they're probably not the best for you. And it's clogging up this certainty you have and this ability you have to refuse everything that isn't you and isn't in your highest good, and to walk straight into the life that actually benefits you and serves you. Like, it seems like a strange thing. Like, what do you mean? I know who I am. But a lot of people have no clue. A lot of people don't know themselves at a deep level. A lot of people are walking around very unconscious of who they are and why they're taking the actions they're taking. They're following other people's instructions, or they have a lot of trauma that they haven't delved into that is making them think things about themselves that isn't true. You have an incredible drive and an incredible power to go exactly where you want to be, and you're sort of just getting lost in how far away you are from that ideal. So I pulled cards to see what your current situation was, and very interestingly, you got the forest and the ocean, two different landscapes. Both of these things are representing you. They are big and vast and a place where people can get lost. And I feel that in you. I feel that you feel lost. If someone is in the middle of the forest or in the middle of the ocean, they're like, what the heck? What am I supposed to do with this? And then sort of, they know exactly where they want to be. Like, they know the exact town they were trying to get to when they got lost. But they're so lost, and the expanse around them is so vast that they're just kind of like been like, what am I supposed to do now? And they sit down and sort of not really give up, but they're just like, I can't possibly figure this out. But the next cards I pulled through are, what is this ability and how should you really tap into it? You have the Warrior and the Hunter. These are two extremely powerful cards. You don't realize how powerful your certainty is. You are certain. You know the type of person you are. You know who you are. You know the life you want around you. And these cards and this reading is telling you that that is all you need. I'm sort of getting the image of someone. I'm seeing someone lost in that forest, and I'm seeing the place where they want to go. And I am seeing this thread, this like light. It's a literal light, like a shining golden thread from their stomach straight to the place where they want to go. That is representing your certainty. And it's saying you just follow your certainty. You follow that thread and you will end up exactly where you want to be. And with the Warrior and the Hunter, this means that if someone in your life is treating you and you're like in a certain way, you can say, this isn't how I want to be treated. So I am refusing you and I'm refusing this treatment. And you turn away from them and you go towards someone who is better for you. And you might be saying, I don't have anyone better for me, but getting the bad out of your life is the first step on to bring the good in. If you have a certain like career goal or life goal, or you even want to live in a certain place, it's saying follow that, because you can trust it. You know yourself, and you have this incredible focus and incredible strength to go exactly where you want to go and make your life what you want it to be. A lot of people do not have the certainty that you do. A lot of people are lost in that forest and they have no clue what town they even want to go to, which is a much worse situation. You know the life you want. The next cards, I had picked up the deck and I was thinking of like a question to ask to pull, but these cards came through just on their own. The Prayer and the Self. These cards are highly spiritual, and they're saying that what you can lean on and what you can trust is this deep connection that you already have with the, sort of the spiritual realm and your higher self. Knowing yourself to this level in your deep core, like this Self card has the core is this pearl. That is the same thing. That is your connection to your higher self. Your higher self and you already know each other well, whether you realize it or not. And the things with the Prayer card, the things that you have been desiring instantly go into your higher self. And then your higher self is like, well, okay, do this. And you're sort of not following it as much as you could be. I think you're already getting these nudges, these information. When we get an urge to do something, a lot of the times it's because our higher self and our souls are trying to guide us towards what we've told it we desire. And we're the ones who sort of ignore those nudges and ignore those little intuitive hits. And in doing that, we're depriving ourselves of the way we're meant to live life, which is to trust our higher selves and to trust the universe around us and to trust that we can bring about the lives that we want. And that is what these cards are saying. Have belief and faith and trust in your higher self, and don't be worried that you can't get to your ideal life, because that's why we all came here, to make the lives we want. That's why we all want different lives, because we each have our own unique things that we want to feel and experiences that we want to have. And you know what yours are. So you're already actually ahead of the curve, because a lot of people don't know. So this is saying lean on your spirituality, lean into your intuition, and lean on those nudges. You know what you desire. So take however small the action is, take it, and you're closer. You're following that thread and you're getting closer to the life you want. The last cards were interesting. I pulled through what could you be if you tune in and tap into this power, this certainty that you have. The comic and the riddle. This is very interesting because the comic is about someone who might be in a dark place and might have a lot of drama or turmoil around them, but they sort of distance themselves from it. And instead of getting swept up in the drama, they watch from an observer point of view, and they can fully analyze it and give it to people in a way that is enlightening and entertaining and light. The comic is someone who uses humor to rise out of the darkness. They're like, yes, this situation is really horrible. It's also really ridiculous. Like, look at this situation from this perspective and see how this thing that seems bad is actually just people being so nonsensical that it actually has humor in it. It's rising out of darkness, using light, using humor, and using this ability to be an observer of drama instead of in the middle of it. Because I feel like a message we get before, this sort of lost feeling, is you really being in the middle of other people's junk. Like you feeling like you can't really escape other people's energies to just get to the height of your own energy and in an environment that suits you. With the riddle, this is saying you really have the power to understand things that other people can't. I'm really looking at this sort of like snake thing in the middle and how it's all intertwined. And the message I'm getting is that you can stand back and observe this life that you're in and observe the drama around you or the negativity around you and really unpack it so that you understand why you were in that situation and you understand what kept you in the situation and how you can get out of the situation. Both of these cards are telling me that you might be in darkness now and it might be a heavy place, but you have the power to stand back, observe it, unpack it, and then that will help you move up into a lighter place and a lighter position in life. You can move out of heaviness up into lightness. You have this ability. You have the ability to observe your situation and really understand it deeply. Some people are in like romantic relationships that are so terrible and toxic, and it's obvious to everyone else, but they just have no idea. And if you're caught up in something like that, these cards are telling me, like, if you just sort of back off, if you let go of those emotions that are sort of fogging you up and this other person's problem, no matter what your situation, just apply this to whatever your situation is, you will be able to really understand, like, if it's a bad relationship, you'll be able to say, oh, like, I understand that this trauma in my childhood made me feel a certain way and desire a certain thing, and that's why I was attracted to this person. Like, just to give you an example, this doesn't have to apply to you at all, but if, like, you're a little girl who felt unsafe in your home environment as a kid, you can be attracted to a guy who is, like, kind of violent or intimidating or scary, because if you're with him, nobody else is going to mess with you. So it's sort of, you're like, oh, I associate this type of a person with safety because this person could beat up the people who hurt me as a kid. And in actuality, I'm putting myself in a bad situation because I'm attracted to someone who has some violence or some aggression. And in reality, I'm probably safer with someone who is more emotionally steady instead of emotionally volatile. And that person can still protect me from the world without being a danger to me. Like, that's just an example of the way that you can unpack your situations. You have the ability to really observe and figure out why the trauma behind why you're in toxicity, why you're in darkness, and unpack it and bring all this. This is really shadow work is what I'm talking about. You have the ability to really be able to do shadow work and unpack why you're in situations so that once you learn them, you can move into into better situations. So in the example I just gave, that person, now that they know that that's why they're attracted to men who are, like, volatile, now that they've pulled that up, they're like, oh, all I have to do is, like, find someone who isn't volatile and realize that that's safe as well, that I can still have a deeper sense of safety with a man who is very steady and calm, and he can still protect me from the other people in the world. So once you realize it, then you can move on from it, because it's not just an unconscious belief and behavior anymore. So that was a lot at the end. I hope that made sense. That's what I have for you. You have an incredible ability to focus, and I feel like right now it's just sort of like a fog energy around you. But you can very easily tune in and tap into your certainty, and maybe it'll take a while, but you can move into the life that you actually want. You're a very powerful person, as well as a very empathetic and sweet one. So I hope that was helpful. If you like this, please like the video and subscribe and leave me a comment to let me know how I did. I would really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Okay, pile 3. Let's see. What positive thing is hiding in your shadows? Yours was a very interesting one because the other piles got certain traits that they have, but for you, what came through was a certain moment. So the image I was getting when I tuned into your pile is just a person standing in sort of like desolation and in gray. Everything's colorless. There's a feeling of, it could be emptiness, numbness, a sense of loss, or a sense of grief. You could have lost something. You could have just been numb for a very long time. But what is coming through is right now what you're not realizing is that you have the opportunity to have an entirely new life. Opportunity for newness is what is coming through for you. And I am seeing this person in this gray world turn and walk into a lush forest where they want certain fruits on the trees, so they go to those trees. They want to go to a river, so they go to the river. And slowly but surely, incredible color comes back to life, and it feels more alive and more full, and not just gray and dull and numb and empty. So sorry if you're in that energy, and if you're having a difficult time right now, or if things feel numb and empty, or if you've lost something. This could also be someone who's lost a job, lost a loved one, and you're just in a state where you're like, I don't know what my life is now. So I pulled cards for what's going on in your situation, and the first cards that came through were very reassuring. This is the Mother and the Castle. Both of these cards, sorry if the camera's sort of moving, I'm having issues with it today, but the Mother and the Castle both talk about you being held and embraced in a safe place. So I think that the universe is really trying to tell you that even though things might seem really gray and grim right now, the universe itself, your spirit team, the sort of other versions of you, your guides, are holding you and loving you and sort of giving you the softness and gentleness that you need right now to recover and rejuvenate. Like, rejuvenation is a very good word for this pile. And maybe there was sadness or is sadness in your life, but there is an opportunity to rejuvenate and to create a very colorful, abundant life out of the ashes that you have now. And I think there's a lot of opportunity, and you get a lot of opportunity to reflect and think about what kind of a life you want and what you want to build. The next cards are the same reason, like what is going on right now. And this is also reassuring. This is Anima Mundi, which is the spirit, the soul, the everything. This is you being really connected and tuned in with the everything. So you're very in touch with spirituality right now. Your spirit team, your guides, your ancestors, whatever resonates with you, is just surrounding you and holding you and saying to rest, because they see how difficult with this underworld card. They see that the moment you're in and the time you're in right now is very rough and difficult, and they're feeling for you, and they're sending you love, and they're saying, be gentle, be soft, and you can just gently walk out of these ruins and into something more lush. The advice that came through, the offering, the kiss, and then the creator also came out. So the offering is you holding out your hand to spirit, is saying, okay, I might be miserable, I might really not like the situation that I'm in, but there's a surrender here. There's you saying, I surrender to this. This is happening. I can't fight against it. I'm going to stop being resistant to it. And I'm just going to surrender to what is happening to me in this moment and the moment that I'm in. And once you do that, the kiss is the next card, and that talks about your passion. Once you accept the situation you're in for what it is, not saying to be happy about something that doesn't make you happy, but you could be accepting and say, okay, you know, I'm in this numbness, but I'm accepting that. I'm accepting what happened, and I'm going to think about what could help me be passionate, what could help me feel alive. This is all what's in the kiss card. Things that alight you and make you feel really alive and passionate. The Creator is telling me that you could be someone meant to have some sort of artistic career or artistic hobby even. I'm sorry, I'll have to fix it for further readings. It's been messing up, but the Creator is telling me that maybe you could even take the pain of your situation and make something beautiful out of it, and that this could have an impact on other people. There's a lot of artists who use their difficult moments and use that for fuel to make things that end up helping other people. And they create these beautiful things out of this pain or out of this numbness. The next cards are sort of what's your next step. You got the Tear and Apocalypsis. The Tear is about releasing negative things after you've really processed them and really embrace them in a way. Again, not saying to take a bad situation and be like, I'm really happy, but you accept the pain, you accept the situation, and you release it without having resentment or negative feelings towards it. It's a very acceptance state. It's a very healthy state. And the Tear is letting go of the negative so that you can eventually move into the positive. And Apocalypsis is all about seeing through the veil. And what I'm getting from these cards together is that once you accept the situation, it's a step to seeing the bigger picture about why it happened. It's a step to understanding sort of the spiritual meanings or the higher meanings of what has happened or what the situation you're in is all about. You'll be able to understand the deeper reasons and how you can sort of benefit and learn from them and grow and heal in a better way. And then I pulled what could be what's sort of at the end of the tunnel. You have the Womb and the Shadow. The Womb card is telling me that it's interesting you got the Mother first and now the Womb is coming out here towards the end. It's telling me that, especially with the Shadow next to it, that you have a very strong capacity to be this sort of mother to yourself and to be someone who embraces these past versions of yourself and heals all of these inner children that are hurting inside of you. Shadow is very literal. It's the shadow side and the shadow self. You might have pain and even numbness and emptiness is a pain and a trauma that you can delve into. If you're curious about that, I always recommend, there's a free resource. It's a Teal Swan video called, I know people have thoughts about her, but it's a free video called How to Heal the Emotional Body by Teal Swan. And she goes over a process where you just fill yourself up with the emotion that's sort of ruining your life essentially and stopping you from living fully. In your case, it would be like emptiness or numbness, or I think some of you might have grief or loss. But you pick one to work with at first and let it fill you, and then you sort of go back to where that came from. And it's tricky because it doesn't seem like that would work for something like numbness, that there was a start to numbness, but there absolutely is. And it could be a sign of something that happened when you were a kid that keeps reoccurring, that keeps bringing this numbness up to you. And these cards are telling me that you have the capacity to go back and to heal the children that were hurt in the first place, and to love yourself and mother yourself and feel like you're in this safe, intimate place where you can be fully who you are and become more in your strength. Because I don't feel like the energy you're in right now is a very good indicator of the energy you're meant to be in. Like, you in your full power is not this person. And when you come to your full power, you can move from this grayness into lushness and fullness and enjoyment of life. And for you, I pulled sort of another, like, what could be the final result if you embrace this opportunity for newness and you heal this numbness and move towards your passion. You have the opportunity to be the ring, the shaman, and the temple. These are, again, very, very spiritual cards. The shaman especially, you have a very strong spiritual power. And with the ring, it's telling me that you could really get in touch with your team and your guides. And the ring is about like oneness and wholeness and everything flowing into each other. And it reminds me of that Apocalypsis card where you have the ability to see the full reasons behind something. It's very difficult when something happens in the 3D to understand like the 5D or the highest spiritual reason, but there's different reasons for the same thing on one level. So if something bad happens to you in your life, like, take a simple example. If there's a breakup in this life, in this 3D environment, you're like, this is horrible, this is painful, this shouldn't have happened. And then on the 5D, it's saying like, you guys learned your lessons from each other. And even though it could have been a really positive thing, there's another person waiting to give you more lessons and help you more become yourself. That the two of you had done everything you could for each other already, and there was nothing left. And it just gives you a wider perspective. And you have the ability to come into that perspective and be able to witness or feel or live something in this 3D world and understand the deeper spiritual levels behind it. And with the temple, I'm getting that you would have the capacity to really communicate with spirit. And if you resonate strongly with a certain spirit guide or your ancestors or your higher self, that you would really have the ability to get in touch with them. If you haven't already, you might already, but to get in touch with them and to work with them and speak with them and get their wisdom and knowledge and become this deep being of spiritual wisdom yourself. That's what the shaman is. It's very powerful to pull this shaman card. The shaman is someone who goes through a transformation and becomes like this spiritual powerhouse that other people look to for wisdom and lessons. And you have that capacity to be able to do that. And the first step is healing the feeling right now, and then walking towards what brings you passion and what makes you feel alive. And then you will move from this gray, dull atmosphere into this beautiful, lush forest of just being able to luxuriate in life and enjoy life. So that's what I have for you. Sending you love for the feelings that you're in right now. And you have the power to create your life in any way that you want now. So I hope this helped. If you enjoyed it, if you wouldn't mind liking, commenting, subscribing, so I know if people are resonating with these readings. Thank you so much for being here. Bye. Pile 4. What positive thing is hiding in your shadow side? So for you, the message I got was your ability to rise out of darkness and difficulty with bravery, optimism, beauty, integrity, and attunement instead of like war and battles and aggression. What I saw was the image of this like dark pit, and then a person, this beautiful, soft person in these like flowy clothes, just with their eyes closed in total peace, just staring upwards. Well, they weren't staring because their eyes were closed, but their face was tilted up like towards a light, and they just in peace rise out of this dark pit. And they're beautiful and powerful in how peaceful they are. So that is a trait that you might not be aware of that you have, because it's in the shadow self. But it was really this, a lot of times when we think about trials and difficulties and dark times, we think about having to fight our way out, to get angry, to get defensive, belligerent, aggressive, to fight people, and really like have to sweat and bleed to get out of negative situations and into better ones. And for you, I'm getting that your power that you don't realize you have is your ability to attune. Sorry if this is moving. Is your ability to attune with your higher self and your spirit and be guided by that and move out of difficulties using your soul and your connection with your soul that can guide you, and using peace and grace to leave these situations behind and get into much better situations. So I pulled cards to help clarify. The first card that came through was the Ring. And this tells me that I always see the Ring as a very spiritual card. Everything is a circle, a loop. Everything is interconnected. And you understand this, and you understand that you are one part of a whole. So with the Ring, it tells me that you're very powerfully attuned with your soul, even in negative situations, which is very difficult. If people are in trauma, they tend to have their less spiritual side come out. They tend to have their fear come out, their anger come out. They get all these things in the way of their spiritual connection and their soul. And you have the ability to stay attuned with your deepest self and your deepest truth, even if you're in a negative situation. The next card was the Father. Father is associated with structure, with protection and safety. And I'm really getting that for you, maybe this is your trauma, that you didn't have this. Maybe these elements, like you have issues with the father or no father, and you were not given the safety and the protection that you should have been given. But with the Ring, it's telling me that you discover how to do these things for yourself. And I don't mean in like a toxic way, but you understand people can always be helped, and people should help other people and receive help, but you understand the connectedness of all things, and you understand that if you didn't receive protection and safety, you know how to tap into those things in other ways. You know how to be that for yourself, or you know how to sort of tap into those vibrations in the universe around you and find protection and safety in other ways. Like maybe you should have had a father do that for you, but if he didn't, you can still understand that it isn't necessarily the individual, it's the energy that you're missing, and you can get the energy without the person. So you really understand how to deeply understand what it is you're missing, what your needs are, and then to get those needs met through sort of creative ways. And this plays into the next cards, which are just more about this ability that you have. The Riddle and the Nectar. The Nectar is the ability to like heal. And I'm getting with the Riddle, it's something that is tricky and difficult to understand. And with all these interlocking symbols on the Riddle, I see it as like spirituality interlocking with physicality. And I just see these two cards as you figuring out the riddle, you, in this ability to gracefully rise and attune with your spirit in difficult times, you discover the answers to the riddle, and you figure out how to find what you need to heal. You find ways to meet your needs in very deep ways. It aren't superficial fixes. Sorry, I had to move my setup, but people can, when they're in situations like you are, in the difficulty and darkness, they can turn to things that are very unhealthy and destructive. But you have the ability in those situations to so deeply attune with yourself and your soul that you can find creative ways to meet your needs, even if they're like emotional needs. Like if you're craving a sense of safety, of someone protecting you, and you didn't have a father to do that when you were growing up, maybe you go and get like a big dog, and then they help you feel that sense of safety. That's the kind of thing I mean. You're very creative in the ways to get your needs met. And you deeply understand what your needs are, which a lot of people don't. And this is, once again, Eros is like eroticism, physicality. It's very, very 3D. And the box, I'm literally seeing this as just out of the box. This ability you have to be at peace in difficulty is due to your ability to think outside of the box and to figure out your life and create it in ways that other people wouldn't be able to do. You don't need to get told what the next step of your life should be or what it is you go for. You are so in tune with yourself that you go for exactly what you need at the time, and you have the ability to get that in circumstances where other people wouldn't even be able to figure out what their need is, let alone a creative way to get it met. But you are an ultimate creator. Like, this is something that, and we're reading for what's positive thing is in your shadow side, so you might not realize that you can tap into this, but you have the ability to have a deep connection with your soul and your higher self in difficult and dark circumstances, and you really have the ability. This plays in with the last cards perfectly. These cards represent what will happen, like your energy when you really tap into and tune into this ability. And this is exactly what I was saying. The vessel and Kairos, you, in doing this, in tuning into your soul and your higher self and your spiritual self in very deep, dark circumstances in the physical world, you have the ability to become a vessel, which is the vessel card, for your soul and your spirit, and to follow it to a much better circumstances. Kairos is all about sort of synchronicity and timing. They're like divine timing, mystic timing, it says in the book. It's where you just end up exactly where you're meant to be and things work out perfectly. And with the vessel, this is you becoming like a vessel for your higher self and living so in tune with it that you tap into this synchronicity and you just peacefully and gracefully make your way through life and get better and better circumstances. And this is something you can be creative with. This is something that you feel the guidance and you act on it. There's no fighting, there's no raging against your circumstances. You're like, okay, I am missing this sort of feeling or this sort of emotion in the circumstance that I'm in. So you tune in with yourself and you follow it towards what your true desire is. And in this way, you can really create a beautiful life. A life that other people would really struggle to make if they were from the same circumstances as you. It's a very powerful energy you have, a very interesting energy. And there's such an incredible beauty in the way you don't rage against your life, but you surrender to something higher and you follow the guidance of your own soul and get to light and get to better circumstances. That's all I have for you. I hope it was helpful. Thank you for being here. Bye.